Hello, and welcome back to the Podcasting Problem Solver. I am Leah Bryant, your go-to podcast growth strategist, here to coach you to podcast strategically with more clarity and better results. All right, so if every time you sit down to plan an episode, your brain suddenly decides to take a vacation and exit the building, well, guess what? Congratulations, you're a podcaster. Welcome to the club. And if you've ever looked at someone else's content, beautifully organized podcast workflows, and thought, wow, couldn't be me, well, buckle up, Buttercup, because today we are going to fix that. I am walking you through my exact 5-step seamless podcast workflow, the one that I teach my clients, the one that I use myself, and the one that cuts 3 to 5 hours off every single episode without sacrificing your quality or your sanity, okay? By the end of this episode, you'll know exactly how to get your idea out of your head into a plan, into production, and published with a repeatable system you can use every single week. And listen, if you want help implementing this inside your own show, I do have something special for you, but I'll tell you about that here in a minute. Most podcasters don't struggle because they're inconsistent, right? What do they do struggle with? Well, it's because their system is inconsistent. They're reinventing the wheel every single episode, and every decision takes 10 times longer because it's being made from scratch. And every step feels heavier because there's not a structure that's supporting them. And this is exactly where the cracks happen. The missed weeks, the rushed edits, oh no, I forgot to publish moments. And it's also where your strategy for your episodes and leading it back to your business offers gets messy too. Because what I want you to think about is that having a podcast workflow doesn't necessarily equate to busy work. It's insurance for your consistency, your growth, your quality, and quite honestly, your sanity. So let's walk through, listen through the 5 steps using my seamless framework, which is the strategy, execution, attraction, and momentum, because each step supports the next. So step number 1 is the strategy snapshot. Remember, strategy is the very first step in the seamless podcast framework. And even if I didn't have a framework, the strategy should be the first step you always do. Okay, so I want you to plan before you press record. Yes, please and thank you. This is where you identify what's the goal of the episode? Who am I talking to? What do I want the listener to do next? And how does this support the business this week, not last month? Your strategy snapshot is a 2 to 3 minute check-in. Not a novel, not a brainstorm session, just clarity before that creation. This one step alone can save podcasters hours. Ask me how I know. Because clarity up front, it does prevent the messiness downstream, okay? Next up is your episode blueprint. So what I want you to do is I want you to outline, not overthink it, okay? Forget writing every line from scratch unless you're scripting a solo episode like this one. Your episode blueprint should include your hook, 3 to 5 core points, your transitions, your call to action, of course, and always remember this, your call to actions should be integrated into the episode, not just at the end, right? And any examples or stories that you want to reference and that you should reference in all your episodes. This is where your brain kind of goes, okay, we've got this. And you do. I totally believe in you. This is also the perfect place to weave in your next call to action so that it feels natural, right? Instead of forced. For example, just like I'm doing right now, if you're listening to this and thinking, Leah, I want help building my workflow. Well, remember, if you DM me or email me with the words seamless workflow, I will give you my strategy session that's normally $297 for $197. And what's included in the $197 is 4 15-minute blocks of voice coaching via Voxer or Telegram, your choice, whatever your jam is, throughout 30 days. and we'll talk about anything that you want. Okay, back to our steps. Step number 3 is smooth recording, kind of like smooth operator, right? So we want to make it easy to hit record. And this is where people will lose the most time. So you want to know my rule? Well, you should focus on reducing friction. Take less than 5 minutes and be repeatable, okay? So for me, it's open Riverside, open my episode blueprint, hit record. And yes, it really is that simple, friend. No overthinking, no rearranging your desk decor. You're just pressing record. And then next up, we have step number 4, which is what we'll call post-production capsule, where you will edit, prep, and polish. Your post-production capsule is, think of it like a bundle of repeatable tasks, okay? So you're going to edit, or you're going to send to your editor. And if you don't have an editor and you want an editor, well, guess what? I also edit podcasts. And then you will add in your intro and outro. You export your file. You upload it to your host. You will add your really great SEO show notes and episode descriptions, your SEO keywords, kind of like podcast workflow or podcast process or podcast systems or consistency. Just kind of like give an example here. And then you're going to schedule it. So this is where most podcasters, in my opinion, also kind of get stuck because they try to remember everything. So what I want you to do is I want you to stop trying to remember everything and start systematizing everything, right? We want to create a checklist. And then that way you can use it forever. So like I love to use ClickUp. And in ClickUp is set up to where each new task is an episode. And in that episode, it has different deliverables, different things that need to be done, all the things. And then as they're completed, they're checked off. And then I know that once everything is checked off for that specific episode, the episode is good to go. Okay, if you have questions or want to see what that looks like, let me know and I can send that over to you. All right, so step number 5 is the momentum loop. And this is your post-publish routine, okay? So if you want consistent growth, this step cannot be optional. I don't want you to have the mindset that, oh, I have SEO in place and the stars are going to align and everything is going to be perfect and the world is going to find me. Well, friend, half of that is true. If you do have really great SEO locked in place, yes, you can be found, but I also want you to put in effort. I want you to talk about your episode in all the places, okay? And maybe not all the places. I don't want you to post in 25 different platforms. I want you to pick your top 2 where your people are hanging and post about it. So for instance, right now, I am loving Threads. If you are not there, come join me. It is so much fun. I am a little unhinged sometimes over there on Threads. And actually, the people who are following me love it. And I get new followers like literally every day. It's so much fun. I love sharing kind of like off the cuff, more personality, a lot more Leah. So definitely come over there to Threads. But so I'm focusing on Threads because that's the one platform where I have a lot of engagement. So I'm using that. And I'm also using my newsletter, which if you're not a part of the newsletter, please come join it. That link is below. It's so much fun. I give lots of valuable information. All right. So that's what I want you to do. Pick 2 platforms. So like a social media platform and then like another one. So it could be like Instagram. If that is your jam, do Instagram and your newsletter or Instagram and Pinterest. Or you could do Instagram, Pinterest, and the newsletter. I won't be mad at that either. What I want you to remember is that this momentum loop, it includes your social assets, right? And your emails. But I also want you to pay attention to your analytics. And yes, I want you to track them the day of publish and then 7 days, but then I don't want you to look at them again until like 30 days later, okay? And this is kind of like what I walk through my coaching clients with is that I have a dashboard that I have built out for them and it gives them all their information. It's really great and it's digestible, right? They understand it. So looking at your downloads in this way, you're not obsessing over it, right? You're really using the data to make informed decisions. And that's what I want you to do is to make informed decisions about your content. Because if you publish an episode and you're checking it obsessively, and maybe that's a harsh word, but sometimes we can get that way. I get that way sometimes. I won't lie. But then it can really kind of be a drain on you. Okay. So when you space out checking your analytics, you can really decide what is and is not resonating. So And the thing that I want you to remember too is that momentum is going to build through repetition and routine. Yep. This loop will keep your podcast discoverable, searchable, and clickable without you scrambling every week because I don't want you to do that. And I will say that if you follow these steps or anything else I've talked about on this podcast, it really does work. I want to tell you why by giving you an example. So, one of my coaching clients, her name is Jenna. She came to me super overwhelmed. She loved her podcast, but hated the process because every episode took her like 7 hours and she was always publishing late, which I don't ever recommend doing because your audience gets accustomed to listening to you at a certain time of day and you want to keep up with that, right? So, what we did was I built her a workflow using the same system I just went through. And within 2 weeks of her getting acclimated to it and all the things, her recording time dropped in half. Yep. Her production time fell by 4 hours. 4 hours. And I think the best thing is that her downloads did increase. And it was because she was finally, yes, friend, consistent. And she said that she liked podcasting again. And when you like doing something, you can hear it in your voice, right? And that energy will translate through the microphone, through the airwaves, and into the people that are listening, and will get them pumped about what you're talking about. And that's what this workflow does. It gives you your time back, but it also gives you confidence back, right? Because here's the thing. Your podcast doesn't need more time from you because what it does need is a system. You have to have a system. And when you start with your strategy and, outline intentionally, you are able to record with ease. And then you're able to produce with a repeatable checklist and maintain your momentum and all that stuff, right? You're going to stop wasting those hours and start running a podcast that actually supports your business instead of being a drain. And we don't want that. We want your podcast to support your business, to bring in those leads. And this is the difference between guessing and growth. And this entire workflow that I mentioned before is built on the seamless framework, right? So strategy is what gives you that clarity before the creation. Execution is giving you the systems that reduce the friction. Attraction means that your content is optimized, so it's findable. And then last but not least, we don't ever want to forget the momentum because that means consistency that compounds, right? So every step strengthens the next. And that's why this works. And that is also why it's repeatable. And that, my friend, is why podcasters who follow this see results quickly. So I know you're probably sitting there listening to this right now thinking, well, I want this, but I want someone to walk it through it with me while I build it out. Well, here's your invitation. If you want help building this, my podcast growth strategy session, like I said, normally $297, but since you are listening and I love you, I want to help you. If you send me an email or DM with the word seamless workflow, you'll get it for $197. And you're going to get 4 blocks of 15-minute voice coaching bursts over 30 days. So you can ask questions in real time while you're implementing your system, right? It's personalized, it's strategic, and it's going to save you hours every single week. All right? And if today's episode helped you breathe a little easier, I want you to hit follow so you don't miss the next one. Your podcast deserves to feel easy and strategic, right? And you, my friend, deserve a workflow that actually works. All right. Until next time, keep your podcast purposeful, your workflow strategic, and your growth seamless. And I'll see you next time.